Welcome back to Dick Morris Democracy. We're diving into all angles and fallout behind the scenes scoops about why Fox News, led by the Murdoch family, fired the nation's #1 commentator, Tucker Carlson. Let's bring in John Jordan for more. He's a former naval intel officer, board member of Stanford's Hoover Institute, and a very excellent political prognosticator. John, thanks for joining me.
Good to be here, Dick.
John, former President Trump weighed in on Fox News, choosing to kick Carlson off the air. Take a look.
Well, I'm shocked. I'm surprised. He's a very good person, a very good man, and very talented, as you know, and he had very high ratings. I think Tucker's been terrific. He's been, especially over the last year or so, he's been terrific to me. Maybe he left because he wasn't being given his free reign. He wants free reign, maybe, but I was surprised by it.
So why do you think they fired a guy who's been such a cash cow for the network?
Well, as you alluded in your open, this is part of the watering down of Fox News, whether it's a result of the Murdoch family's desire to sell it or the effect of continuous lawfare, ESG investing, and all of the forces arrayed against conservative voices. Remember, Tucker, at least at Fox, was the tip of the spear in really digging into and attacking leftist narratives in enormous detail and speaking truth to power. The rest of the lineup at Fox kind of followed along. It's important to quantify exactly how far Fox has fallen in the last week. April 21st, Tucker's last show drew about 3.2 million viewers. On Monday, after he'd been fired, at 2.7, and a lot of that was just rubbernecking just to see who would replace him. And on Tuesday, down to 1.6 million viewers. Just to put a little perspective on that, Chris Hayes on MSNBC was just barely behind at 1.45 million. That's how far this has fallen. But if Fox is going to just be watered down, Fox Light, so to speak, it looks like a lot of conservative viewers will have to go elsewhere to really understand the nature and all of the dimensions of the threats to freedom that we face.
I think it's important for us to realize that you can't be a conservative network and not cover Donald Trump these days. It's like being a communist network and not, covering Putin. You have to cover Donald Trump. He is the conservative movement. He increasingly is the Republican Party. And by attempting to cut him out and cover everything else, Fox News essentially was castrating itself. And now by firing Tucker Carlson, they've indicated that is going to be permanent.
Yeah, they used Donald Trump when it suited them, when he brought in the bacon, when he brought in the ratings. But they never liked him. He's destroyed the conservative establishment in so many ways and remade the Republican Party. And that's bound to make enemies, whether it's Liz Cheney or certain people in the Rhino faction of the Republican Party and the Country Club Republican set. But the anti-Trump forces have never really understood why Trump has such a following. They focus exclusively on the man, attacking the man, pointing out, his flaws, both real and imagined. But they never understood that people support Trump because of who he's fighting against and what he's fighting for. And that's the heart of people's support for Trump, rather than what the left thinks it is. They think it's a personality cult. It's not. It's Americans that want to preserve our country and preserve the freedoms we've enjoyed over the last few hundred years that have made us the most prosperous country on earth. And that's what he's defending.
I think you can compare the Republican Party to a layer cake. The Democratic Party, you're born into it. You're black, you're Latino, you're a labor union family. Republican Party, you think your way into it. Newt Gingrich taught me that. The initial Republican Party were laissez-faire capitalists, and those are largely the rhinos. They want free trade, they want open borders because they want to make their lives more profitable. Then you had the second layer that Eisenhower brought in, the national security types. Then the third layer, Reagan brought in social conservatives. And Trump has now brought in the fourth layer, which is America First, to inject nationalism and patriotism into that layer cake. And the rhinos, the conventional Republican establishment, can't stand that. And that's why you see the media going against him so aggressively.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that and kind of don't. Here's why. That was true in the 90s. You thought your way into the Republican Party and you were born into the Democrat Party. Now we're seeing working class voters who were born in the Democrat Party leave it in droves, which is why Trump won in 2016 and will hopefully do very, very well, if not win in 2024. But you're seeing now is the Democrat Party of the 90s that Newt Gingrich fought has changed. It is no more either. And so now you're seeing this new left, which is running major cities and large states into the ground. And you're starting to see a lot of people who were born in the Democrat Party, and not just working class white voters, but Latinos and a lot of black voters as well, see what the left has brought them and how that compares to their lived experience. And they're asking themselves, is this really what I want, this new left, this new Democrat Party, which basically undid the Democrat Party that Newt Gingrich knew? And so now you're seeing the collision between lived experience and the left's economic policies and policies on crime. And you're seeing a lot of people don't like it. And that's reshuffling the deck, Dick.
That's a brilliant analysis, John. Days after he lost his job, ex-Fox News commentator Carlson broke his silence, discussing the sad state of American media, where no one can speak the truth anymore. Watch this.
The undeniably big topics, the ones that will define our future, get virtually no discussion at all. War, civil liberties, emerging science, demographic change, corporate power, natural resources. When was the last time you heard a legitimate debate about any of those issues? It's been a long time. Debates like that are not permitted in American media. Where can you still find Americans saying true things? There aren't many places left, but there are some, and that's enough.
John, former President Trump seemed to have a crystal ball on a number of issues when he was in the White House. And back in 2019, he tweeted the following about Fox News. Fox is letting millions of great people down. We have to start looking for a new news outlet. Fox isn't working for us anymore. Was Trump prescient or what?
Yeah, well, you think about what Fox was, as recently as, a few years ago, going back to its founding in 1996. It was edgy. It challenged the status quo. It challenged assumptions. It made people think. And it made people kind of question liberal orthodoxy. Now with this new virulent left that uses all kinds of power, whether it's lawfare or ESG investing or the power of money, the Davos set, the power of social media and big tech, which we didn't have a few years ago. You're seeing this enormous multi-pronged effort to water down the news and prevent people from thinking and challenging the assumptions that are being propagated by this enormous new concentration of power in the media, social media, the tech, big tech. And we saw the trial run of this during the pandemic. And Tucker Carlson challenged a lot of these assumptions and ended up being vindicated. And I think that a lot of very powerful people behind the scenes here never forgave that, and they need to make sure that the news is watered down.
Right. Diluted, watered down, distorted. I think that the key element, though, is that Fox News does not cover Donald Trump. It's like they cover the problems, but not the solution. And everybody says, hey, there's a solution out there, Donald Trump. And when you just belabor the problems and you don't point to the solution, you lose viewers and you lose credibility. Thank you, John Jordan.